Forge Gang! I am still a Heart Man! Let's go! I am your host, Imperator of Forge, otherwise known as Forge Warhammer, the leader of Forge Gang. And this is congratulations to Drunken Surfer. Congratulations, Drunken Surfer, and congratulations, Galdophilia. Congratulations, Mo Sneedley. Congratulations. Congratulations, Kino Corner. Congratulations to the Kino Corner. And congratulations to Dark Ninja. You guys got what you wanted. And oh, did you work so hard behind the scenes. In your little Discord servers that 3-4 is in and pretends that he's not, but he is. You know, your little 10, 5-member servers that has Bubs and has 3rd, 4th, the 2nd in them, that has like Bronx Beats and whoever else is in them. And then they pretend that they're not in those servers, or Mo Sneedley, or any of those guys. But congratulations, you got what you wanted. And you worked for 4 years to do this. Oh my goodness, did you ever work so hard for 4.5 something years? 4 years and 8 months to do this. February of 2022. February of 2022. That is quite some time ago. But February 2022. Good old Euros MC brought me on to the Kino Corner. A channel that doesn't even have 100 subs. Nobody really watches it besides a bunch of K-stream trolls, a bunch of wannabe trolls and stuff. And oh my goodness, ever since Surfer and PPP broke up, these guys have been wanting content. Oh, yes indeed. Ever since August or September of 2021, when PPP and Surfer got into a flinging shit fest, and Surfer told PPP to leave his house and said he was going to call the cops, and PPP left Surfer behind. Oh, ever since that day, have so many of these guys wanted some substance of content to have. Ever since August or September of 2021, these guys who follow Drunken Surfer and Euros MC have been absolutely starving for content. And it finally happened. You finally got your wish, Drunken Surfer. Congratulations, Drunken Surfer. You got me on the kill stream. You got me to interact with the Gunt. I know that this is probably not quite what you wanted. I know that this might not be quite necessarily what you wanted, but ever since you and PPP split up, ever since Drunken Surfer and PPP split apart, went their separate ways, Drunken Surfer has been all out and about trying to manipulate people, trying to get people to do these gay ops. And this is what Drunken Surfer does. Drunken Surfer and the Kino Corner do this stuff. The trolls that follow them, like Bronx Beats and Bubs or Bubbles and several of these other guys that are in little Discord servers that nobody cares about. Oh, have they worked so ever hard from the very day that Surfer and PPP went their separate ways, oh, have they ever worked so hard to bring something like what happened tonight about. They got Forge Warhammer to go at their guy. You know, they don't really like the Gunt, you know, but they pretend to like the Gunt because they can use the Gunt and they can use whoever they want because that's how they are. These people are absolute lowlives. Galdi Galdophilia and King's Kino Archive and Euros MC and Drunken Surfer. Oh, they have worked so hard. February 2022 to December of 2025. Oh, how they labored so hard to bring this to fruition. Okay? And, you know, they had a few helpers, too, along the way. They had a few little helpers, too. But what I'm really surprised is that Drunken Surfer is not celebrating. Drunken Surfer is not yet, as of now, not yet streamed about it. I'm really surprised. Drunken Surfer, of all people in the world, hasn't really said a thing. Swan Kelly, who I think is an innocent party who has been manipulated by Dark Ninja and Mycroft and a few others, with Euros and Surfer obviously in the background, and maybe Perspicacity as well in the background, have worked so hard and labored so hard to make sure that Ralph and I would interact in this flinging contest. And tonight, it finally happened. Tonight was the night. December 21st, 2025, at whatever my time, they got what they wanted. They got what they wanted. Now, I am surprised that Drunken Surfer is not streaming. I'm surprised that Drunken Surfer isn't streaming right now with Euros MC talking about how they got an autist to go on the kill stream. I am so surprised. Okay, I am really surprised that Surfer isn't celebrating. It's like, why aren't you not celebrating you got what you wanted? It took you about 4 years of manipulation and stalking and harassing others. It took you 4 years and 8 months to do it, but you got it. February of 2022 to December of 2025, Euros MC, Galdi Galdophilia, and Drunken Surfer labored and worked so ever hard to finally bring what happened tonight to finally transpire. And they finally got what they wanted. Drunken Surfer, you got what you wanted. Why ain't you streaming? Why are you not streaming Drunken Surfer? You got what you wanted. Go ahead and stream. Go start up a stream, Drunken Surfer, and bring on Galdi Galdophilia, and bring on Mr. Deadman, and bring on Euros MC, and drink and celebrate. You got your wish. Okay, and Mr. Deadman was behind this as well. Okay, Mr. Deadman, a total degenerate, also was kind of to a lesser degree working behind the scenes for this. And from February of 2022 to December of 2025, they worked tirelessly. Especially Euros and Galdi Galdophilia. They worked tirelessly for about 4 years for this to finally happen. And now that it's happened, now that this is actually a thing, I am surprised because Alistair Mycroft is the only person so far who has actually done an upload about this deranged bullshit. Okay, you know, where is Drunken Surfer? Why is Drunken Surfer not streaming right now celebrating about this? You know, with Euros MC and Galdi Galdophilia and Captain Kino, if he's still around, and his other buddies. the daimyo and whoever else. Like, congratulations, you got what you wanted. I'm really surprised that you're not streaming this, you know. I'm surprised that Swan Kelly is not streaming about it right now, or Drunken Surfer, or even Galdi Galdophilia. Not even the Kino Coroner is really said anything. I'm actually surprised. But, like, you guys got what you wanted. You got the content that you have been wanting ever since September of 2021, when PPP and Surfer parted ways. This is what you wanted. You wanted this ever since the late summer of 2021, when PPP decided to leave you guys in the dirt. Like, I'm really surprised. But Drunken Surfer, ever since the night that you tried to call the cops on PPP, and he got his stuff and he left, he walked out. Ever since that night, Drunken Surfer, you have been trying to manipulate people, harass people, and stalk people, and you have been working behind the scenes tirelessly with EuroSimC for this very event to happen tonight. Obviously, it's not what you wanted. Obviously, the chaos was not what you intended to happen or to have happen, but, you know, it did happen. Why are you not celebrating? Like, Drunken Surfer, I know that you're not working tonight. If you were working, Drunken Surfer, you would not be in the chat there. So I'm really surprised. But, you know, Drunken Surfer, congratulations. Here. Congratulations, Drunken Surfer. You got your wish. EuroSimC, you got what you wanted. You got your wish. You know, ever since you and PPP parted ways, you have been starving for content, starving for some kind of Kino to have. You know, you guys kind of would sometimes go around King of Pole to get content. You know, I know that sometimes you interact with King of Pole, and then later you turned on King of Pole, and Perspicacity especially started to A-log and to do gay ops on King of Pole, and you guys would do that for content. But I am surprised that Drunken Surfer is not said anything, really. I mean, ever since like September, early September, late August of 2021, Drunken Surfer and EuroSimC have been starving for this kind of content. They finally got the content that they wanted tonight, and they haven't said a thing. I am really surprised, but congratulations to you guys. You got what you wanted. I hope you're happy. Personally, I think you should be ashamed. I think that you guys should be really fucking ashamed about what you did. And when it comes to like Swan Kelly, who is a mentally ill person, severely mentally ill person, manipulated by other guys, you know. Now, with Alistair Mycroft and Dark Ninja, I don't think that they really planned this stuff out. But they do like this kind of low-tier shit as well, because they're the gutter of the sector, and they also like to do this crap as well. And I don't think that Alistair Mycroft and Dark Ninja were working tirelessly for 4 years to bring this shit about, but they did it too. I mean, Drunken Surfer, you can thank them as well. You can thank Swan Kelly and Alistair Mycroft, and to a much lesser degree, Dark Ninja, as well, trying to troll bait me to go at that fat idiot. That absolute fat, disgusting, redneck disgrace to society. Absolute disgrace to society, to society in general, polite society at least. That blue-collar fat idiot, fat redneck blue-collar that thinks that he is like some kind of a master tier A-log or whatever in the sector. But like, you guys should pat yourselves on the back. You guys should really be patting yourselves on the back, okay? Drunken Surfer has waited since he broke up with PPP for this kind of shit to go down, because that's what kind of a person he is. And so did Perspicacity, and so did Galdi Galdophilia and EuroSimC. They have all worked tirelessly to manipulate me from February of 2022 to do something just like this. Okay? And Drunken Surfer would send, like, the worst clips that he could find about me, like me rapping and stuff, and he'd send it to the kill stream to stream and stuff. You know, he was really Surfer all the way back in the day was trying to do this kind of shit. He would try to bring me or Mormon Shaggy onto the kill stream to talk with that fat idiot to try to start up a bunch of drama and stuff. Well, 4 years and 8 months later, you know, at least on my part, and ever since whenever August of 2021 was to December of 2025, EuroSimC, Drunken Surfer, and Galdi Galdophilia, and a few other guys have been working tirelessly in these discords, in these little discords that they have with Mo Sneedly and with the Cracker Barrel guy, Cracker Barrel, and all these fucking low tier losers. Ever since August of 2021, ever since PPP and Surfer broke up, from that very moment, that very hour until now, they have been working absolutely tirelessly for something like this to go down. Okay? And then Alistair Mycroft and Dark Ninja, who are not even really that smart, but, you know, for a while as well, they worked for something like this to transpire as well. And finally, it's like you finally got your wish. Drunken Surfer, why aren't you celebrating? Okay? Why isn't Drunken Surfer and Perspicacity firing up a stream right now? Or maybe Swan Kelly, and they're going on there and they're celebrating about Warhammer going and fighting the Gunt. Fighting the Gunt. Like, you guys should be absolutely celebrating right now. You should be drinking and celebrating. Okay, but yeah. Congratulations, Drunken Surfer. Ever since August of 2021, you have been working so hard, Drunken Surfer and EuroSimC, for something like this to transpire. And all the way back in February of 2022, the first night I went on the Kino Corner, you've been planning this out. You planned this all out from August or September of 2021 to find someone that you thought was unhinged enough to go on the kill stream and do what just happened tonight, and you got what you wanted. I mean, why are you not celebrating right now? Like, you should be absolutely celebrating and joyful about this. Yeah, Alistair, I know that you're in the Ethan Ralph Discord with Dark Ninja and Swan Kelly talking about it with Sucker Punch. I know what's going on. You're in there with Weezus and Sucker Punch and a couple of those other guys with Dark Ninja, Swan Kelly, and you're talking about it in the Ethan Ralph Discord. I know what's going on. I'm not stupid, Alistair Mycroft. I know what you guys are doing. But congratulations. Congratulations. You got what you wanted. You guys got what you wanted to have. It finally happened tonight. You should savor every moment of this Kino as you can. You need to savor up every moment of this Kino, okay? You'll probably never get it again. Maybe you will. Maybe this will happen again. Okay, who is to really say that this is the last time that this will happen? But tonight, the A-Logs, Drunken Surfer and EuroSimC won tonight. You got my attention. Drunken Surfer, you got my attention. Ever since the very night, the very hour that PPP and you parted ways, you and EuroSimC have been planning out for this very thing to happen. And like about 5 years later, in December of 2025, you got your wish. Congratulations. And Third Force says that Ghost and I got our Lord of the Rings online accounts back. How about that? Well, congrats, Third Four. The only personal issue that I have with you is that you are in these discords with these kind of lowlives, and sometimes it makes me wonder. I know that you kind of play like you're on the fence sometimes, and, you know, I try to not let it bother me, but in situations like this, I really do sometimes wonder, 3-4, about where exactly you stand on that fence that you claim to be. Because you're not, like, 3-4, you can bullshit and lie sometimes, but in situations like this, where I just had it out with that fat ass, with that redneck fat ass on the kill stream, you can't hide it, okay? You cannot hide your stripes, 3-4. I know that in the past that you have been in some VC groups and discords with Bronx Beats and Most Needly and EuroSimC and Bubs. You can't hide that from me, okay? I know that this was like a long time ago, and perhaps you're not in those groups anymore. I realize that that was like 3 years ago. I get that. And, you know, things have changed. Maybe you moved on, but regardless, 3-4, you're not going to get around the fact that I know that you were in discords that you pretend don't exist, that are run by Euros. Okay, at least 4 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe not now, but, you know, you can only play impartial so far. You can only play as if you're impartial so far, and play like you're neutral to things so far. Perhaps 3-4, you moved on from that shit, and I hope that you did, because you need to understand that EuroSimC is not a good person. Euros is not a good person at all. Even Ghost of Nicolo realizes that. Chan Kadoki realizes that. Okay, and I know that Alistair Mycroft is lying about that, 3-4. Don't worry about it. I know that Alistair Mycroft there is lying, but regardless, you can't play like you're impartial all the time. Okay, these things do come around full circle, and you know, it's just but yeah. So Drunken Surfer, ever since the very night that he broke up with PPP, Drunken Surfer has been behind the scenes trying to gay up people to go on the kill stream to argue with that guy. And at some point, him and Euros, probably in a group VC call, decided that they wanted Mormon Shaggy and myself, or the Daimyo, to go on and talk with Ralph. To try to produce content. And they've been plotting this for years, because that's what these people are. But anyways, I'm just surprised that Drunken Surfer is not streaming, drinking a beer, and talking to Galdophilia and to EuroSimC and Bronx Beats and celebrating, you know, what happened tonight. I'm really surprised that they haven't done that yet. Also, one more thing. Cog apparently clipped what happened, and it looks like that piece of shit Cog said something about it on Twitter. So you might want to look into that. But apparently Cog was watching the kill stream when this happened, and he clipped it or something. So I don't know if he covered it or if he just mentioned or gave a mention to it on Twitter, but there's something to look into. Anyways, definitely not a fine fellow to entertain with. Like, I don't know if back in the Gamergate days, if Ralph was in much better shape and had a better state of mind when he was in his prime. I don't know if Ethan Ralph back in the Gamergate days when he was actually in his prime and collaborating with Mr. Medicare was actually doing this or whatever. Like, I don't know if he was in a more sound mind or whatever, but you can tell that Ralph's cognitive activity declined sharply when he started to take a lot of pills and drink heavily and basically just do these 5-hour-long pill-taking streams that he does. Because when I talked to him tonight on Telegram, he didn't sound like he was in his right mind. Like, he sounded like a drug addict with severe cognitive dysfunction and brain matter decline. Okay, perhaps in the Gamergate days, Ralph had a much more sound mind. Perhaps Ralph is better when he's not taking the pills and drinking himself half to death like a retard, but he's definitely not what he used to be. In fact, I didn't even recognize who he was. He sounded like an old man. It sounded like a old geezer that was like out of the prime of his life and was severely drugged up and under the influence of alcohol and severe cognitive decline. And he didn't sound at all like the person that he is on those streams. He sounded like a completely different person when I talked to him. Like, he sounded like a very old man. He sounded like a 60-year-old something chain smoker with a very low-pitch voice and just completely kind of like a chain smoker, like a 65-year-old alcoholic chain smoker. That's what he sounded like to me. Anyways, Cog will cover this tomorrow. I don't watch Cog Alistair Mycroft. Let's see here. He did have a much more of a clear mind in the past, but that's just aging. Third four, I disagree with you. I think the pills and the alcohol have taken their influence on him. I think that the pills and the alcohol and the drugs down there in Mexico have really affected his mind. The only thing that this guy really cares about is grifting and getting money off of others. That's literally all this guy does. And he doesn't even really produce or give nothing back for the grift that he does. So very, very deranged, awful lunatic. I'm going to say very awful lunatic. But anyways, that's really all. Drunken Surfer, you should really be firing up a stream and drinking a beer right now and celebrating, man. That's all I gotta say.